Hello, music fans. You're watching Death by Unicorn, where we talk about metal, rock, and prog music. And this is New Music's Alive in 2025. I'm going to talk about how many albums today? 6 that came out on January 24th, 2025. And I'll give you my first impressions of them, and I'll talk about them in my order of preference. Starting with Avatarium and their album Between You, God, the Devil, and the Dead. This is the 6th album by this Swedish band, and it's doom metal with some progressive rock, psychedelic rock, stoner rock, and occult rock influences. I'm putting this one in my excellent tier. Definitely one you should check out now if you're a fan of bands like Black Sabbath, Ghost, and Blue Oyster Cult, but want to hear what it would sound like if those bands leaned a little bit more into their progressive side, had a bit more symphonic and ambient elements. I heard the 5th album by Avatarium as well before I listened to this one, their 6th album. I thought their 5th album was excellent as well. They have strong female vocals. The band was founded by the Candlemass songwriter Leif Edling, but he's no longer part of the band. Avatarium has an epic and dark sound. So like, Black Sabbath is probably the closest comparison. It's very riff driven, like Tony Iommi style riffs. But I think the guitar soloing takes it up a notch and is a bit more technically impressive than even Tony Iommi. It has an old school sound, but modern technical abilities. So if you're a fan of, like kind of doomy progressive metal like Catatonia and Oceans of Slumber, I think you'll like this as well. But you don't get any screaming vocals here from Avatarium. It's all nice, beautiful singing here. So far, my favorite track is Until Forever and Again. And I also really like a lot of the guitar solos on this album, like the guitar solo on Notes from the Underground, which is amazing. And lots of the solo work is pretty good. Some of it's like slow and melodic guitar solos, but there's some moments where it starts ripping pretty fast, and there's some pretty fun stuff. So check that out if that sounds good to you. That's Between You, God, the Devil, and the Dead by Avatarium. Hopefully I pronounced the band name correctly. If not, let me know down below. All right, the next album I want to talk about is by Bumblefoot, and it's called Returns. And this is the 9th solo album by this American guitar virtuoso. This is instrumental hard rock with alternative metal and progressive metal influences. I'm also putting this in my excellent tier. Bumblefoot is just an amazing guitar shredder. He was one of 2 lead guitarists in Guns N' Roses from 2006 until 2014. He performed on their album Chinese Democracy. And he's the guitarist from the supergroup Sons of Apollo, and currently the guitarist of the supergroup Whom Gods Destroy. He was also the guitarist and vocalist for the band Asia from 2019 to 2022. So when I listened to this album, I expected some insane guitar virtuosity from him here. I'd never actually heard any solo album from him before, but I've heard his work with Sons of Apollo and Whom Gods Destroy. Always thought he was an amazing guitar player. His work with Whom Gods Destroy in 2024 was mind-blowing. I love when he does fretless guitar solos in particular, and he really didn't disappoint on this new album here. Bumblefoot, his guitar performances here are mind-blowing, putting him up there as one of the greatest players I ever even. Like the solo on Simon in Space is amazing. Most impressive here actually is not any specific moment or solo, but just his versatility to play amazingly in so many different styles across the album. There's moments of clean guitar versus heavily distorted, acoustic versus electric, fast versus slow, single note leads versus chords, fretted guitars versus fretless, playing metal, playing rock, playing even a song that's like country and bluegrass kind of sound. really cool stuff here from Bumblefoot. If that sounds good to you, check out Bumblefoot Returns. So those two albums were my excellent tier. The next four I'm going to mention are in my very good tier, so didn't quite make it to excellent. But I want to mention an EP by Oni called Genesis. This is a Canadian metalcore. Oni's kind of like the vocalist, so it's kind of like a one-man project, but he's working with YouTuber Jared Dines on guitar now, and he's also a great guitar player. So I think Oni is the vocalist and kind of the creative, the driving force, but he's got collaborators, and it's great melodic metalcore with alternative metal, groove metal, gent, and pop influences on here. And I really liked his last album from 2023, The Silver Lion. That was excellent. The Loathing Light from 2022 was also very good. He just maintains quality on this. He delivers great vocal performances and catchy vocal hooks over nice groovy metal riffs. It's mostly clean vocals, but there are some screams on here. It's very accessible metalcore music that pop listeners could probably like, as long as they can tolerate a bit of screaming. So if that sounds good to you, check out Genesis by Oni. Next up, I've got another metalcore one. It's another EP as well by a band called SKYLIMIT. And the EP is called Designed to Lose. This is a multinational group, and it's melodic metalcore with alternative metal, post-hardcore, and pop influences. This supergroup features members from Canada, the US, and the UK. Most notably for me, it features Lauren Babick of Red Handed Denial, who's one of my favorite female vocalists in metal. She's really great, doing great vocals here. And then it also features YouTuber Bradley Hall on guitar, among others. And Bradley Hall is a great guitar player. He's playing a different style than what he usually plays. Like some of it, when I've checked out some of his other original music, it's mostly been like thrash metal style, kind of most similar to like Megadeth and Metallica. So it's interesting to hear him playing some stuff that's more like metalcore and groovy. That was kind of neat to hear those kind of songs. And they're all just like really catchy hooks in every song, great riffs in every song. And yeah, there's some screaming, of course, clean singing and screaming, great mix. And when it goes hard, it goes hard. So if that sounds good to you, check out Designed to Lose by SKYLIMIT. Definitely one to check out if you're a fan of Red Handed Denial. Next up, also in my very good tier, is Wardruna with their album Birna. This is the 6th album by this Norwegian band. It's dark Nordic neo-folk with ambient influences. Now, Wardruna makes very primal rhythmic and percussive music with chant-like, trance-inducing vocals. They have both male and female vocalists. If you're a fan of Halung, definitely check this out. It sounds like you're listening to ancient Viking satanic rituals, but it's somehow also beautiful and very well composed. It's adventurous and cinematic music. It's a bit weird. It's not really accessible to mainstream pop listeners, but I also think that most people would at least find this interesting and intriguing and consider it at least good, even if it's not for them. It's definitely not for everybody. I think it's very good and well done, likely a step up from their last album, but it's also not a style of music that I think I'll want to listen to often. This dark Nordic neo-folk is something you kind of have to be in the mood for, that kind of journey. But I'll probably keep checking out new things from this band anytime they release something going forward. I just don't think I'll listen to them very often. But if that sounds good to you, check out Birna by Wardruna. And lastly, still a very good album. It was a strong week for new music. Labyrinth released In the Vanishing Echoes of Goodbye. This is the 10th album by this Italian band, and it's progressive power metal. It's not super progressive, but thanks to YouTube user M. Taffer for suggesting this to me in the comments of another one of my videos. I listened to a couple singles from this Labyrinth album ahead of time. I liked them, so added them to my list to listen to. If you're a fan of Hammerfall, Stradivarius, Dragon Force, that kind of power metal, but want to hear something with a little bit more progressive flair like Evergrey, definitely check this out. The vocals sound like a mix between Jeff Tate of Queensryche mixed with power metal vocals like Hammerfall, Stradivarius, and mixed with a little bit of a grungy grit, like some moments almost sounding like Chris Cornell from Soundgarden. The guitars on this album are sometimes flashy, other times they're pretty straightforward though. The songs are catchy and straightforward, but there are a couple curveballs here and there, like the odd time signature change. But check this out if that sounds good to you. That is Labyrinth is the band, and the album's called In the Vanishing Echoes of Goodbye. And that's it for my first impressions of these 6 new albums that came out. Have you heard any of these? Let me know what you think of them down below in the comments. Hopefully I inspire you to check some other ones out. Let me know what you're excited to check out based on my recommendations here. And did you hear anything else that came out recently that you think I might enjoy? Also let me know down below, and stay tuned for next time. Peace out.